moderation can support your channel in even more ways. I need to see if this is set for privacy. See, I know it says it's not for kids, but it actually is. But I would like people to be able to leave comments. So, all right, everybody. We are doing another video. This is the 4th of July, 2025. Yeah, so I am deciding to do a video today. There's things that's been on my mind. I've been watching the TV series The Chosen on Prime Video. There are things in there that this is my opinion. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just stating that the way they did it is kind of confusing to, if you didn't know the scriptures, if you didn't know the Bible, if you didn't have a relationship with the Lord properly, it could mess you up. It could deceive you. Now, I don't know where they got this information on how they did this version of The Chosen. It don't look like it's actually from the King James Version, so it has to be from some other books that's out there. The way they portray Jesus is, I assume, because in the movie they saying that his publicly known miracles was not the wine. It was something else. Sit up. You have this in your hand, it has your attention. You're not supposed to be you in that cover. I said take it out of here because we're doing a video. So there is things that I don't agree with. There's some things that is done that I do agree with. Everything that I know about that's in the script, that's actual in the scriptures, my body gets, or my spirit gets, overwhelmed. It makes me want to tear up, and from the joy of what Jesus done for these people. But then in the other aspects of the what we would say, this is our that it's only the fabrications, or what's the word? That's not the word I wanted to use, but it's made up. This is what we think that Jesus might have been doing, or this how it could have been. With his journeying, they have him living in, they have him building tents and stuff like that they were sleeping in. They sleeping on the ground and so on and so forth. So really don't speculations. That's the word, speculation. So these are only, those parts are only speculated, unless they have some records of people who wrote outside books that nobody else have seen or heard, that that's what actually happened. So from off of what the Bible gave us, it only gave us so much description. And another thing that's bad about sit up, I said, sit up. And the other descriptions that I said that they have the women doing a lot of the talking. They have a lot of women saying stuff that in the Bible, like men said. So the way that they portray the woman, except for the part where the guy meets Jesus in Canaan, no, not in the where the Samaritans is when he waited there 2 days, where the woman is talking and the father is like, you shouldn't be, you don't override or speak out when men are talking. Now that part is if you know the history of back then, women did not have much say. But in this, the chosen, he had most of the women um, speaking out and the men being silent. Um, Now, I do like the part where they did put in there about Jesus going to Peter's wife and saying to her that, he did ask Peter to follow him, but that how much pressure it puts on people that has to let them people go. In other words, Jesus was saying he went to Peter's wife and said, he know that this is gonna be pressure for her, that he appreciate that she agreed to back Peter's decision to come follow him, and how much pressure that might be to her, and how Peter might be burdened down with thinking about his home, and how Jesus went in and healed her mother so that Peter wouldn't be worried about the situation that's going on back home. So that was kind of cool. I did like that part that they put in there. But still, it's like they focusing on the women having the power or the say or the run, or even Nicodemus, the way they have his wife talking to him, and how they have all of that going on. That wouldn't have happened like back then. The women would have kept silent. Now you can say, well, the that Sarah or Sarah had told Abraham to send away Hagar and Ishmael. True, she did. And but Abraham went to God about the situation before he listened to her or did what she asked. He went to God first and asked God with what Sarah said, was that okay, or should he override that and keep Hagar and Ishmael there? Well, God told Abraham to listen to his wife and send away Hagar and Ishmael. But he didn't tell him to send them away with nothing. Now that part he didn't say, but he did agree with saying send them away. Now Abraham could have sent them away with more stuff than he did, and with some help, because she did have a young child, not a young child, but like a teenager child. Whether he was 14 to 17 years old, she was journeying with a child, and all he gave him was a thing of water and a loaf of bread or some bread. Then you can say, well, what about Moses when the one guy that had nothing but daughters, and they went to Moses and asked Moses for the inheritance of their father. And they told Moses, well, we can't help it that our dad had only females as daughters. I mean, he didn't have no sons. and they asked Moses to go on their behalf to God and asked God if it was okay if he would give them their father's inheritance. So Moses went to God on their behalf and asked God, can he give the inheritance to his daughters? Because the inheritance was supposed to go to the firstborn male. But he had no sons. So now his stuff is just sitting there because by the law in those days, the women, they didn't receive it. But these women got enough boldness. They were married. Now, they didn't send their husbands to go and ask for the father inheritance because they wouldn't have received it. But they were children of this man. And they went and presented themselves to Moses, which normally they wouldn't do. But they went respectfully. They didn't go demanding and trying to demand Moses and make him do it. They went there and asked him, could he go and talk to God on their behalf to see if that was okay. Moses did, and God said, give it to them. So they received their father's inheritance. Who else? What else did I see in there that was Peter. Peter being, they have Peter and Andrew as conmen or owing big debts to Matthew, who was the debt collector. Now, according to the scriptures that I read, I don't see where they had a debt or where they had been shiesty, trying to, what they were, fighting, but they were scam artists. And the Bible do say that Peter said he was a sinful man, but it never really explained what kind of stuff he was doing. So all of this other stuff that's outside of that stuff that's supposed to be scriptural or biblical is speculations. I know they said that at the beginning of their story, but they did say that these were true facts of Jesus. Now, they got Jesus casting out the demons out of Mary. I have to, unless I missed something in the Bible, it did say she had 7 devils cast out of her, but it didn't say who cast them out of her. Now, I don't know if it was Jesus. I have to go back and look. I might be wrong. So if I'm wrong, I'll stand corrected, and I will get back on here and tell you if I was wrong on that. So I'm going to look more into that, but as I believe, I don't know. Matter of fact, look it up on your phone. Look it up where it says Mary had 7 devils cast out of her. And let's see if it say who actually cast those 7 devils out of her. But they got Jesus' first interaction of doing a miracle was Mary. And they said first, Nicodemus, who came to Jesus at night, it was the one who tried to cast out these demons out of Mary first. So, or doing exorcism. So, like I said, once again, all of that speculation. Unless they can pull out whatever book they got it from and show it. If they're coming off of that book, they should make sure they give a description that we're coming off of this book's information that we read. So, thank you. It says, according to the Bible, specifically, Luke 8:2, Jesus cast out 7 devils from Mary and Magdalene. The nature of these demons is not explicitly detailed, but it is often interpreted symbolically, with some scholars suggesting they represents the 7 deadly sins of a complete and severe possession. The healing of Mary Magdalene by Jesus is a significant event showcasing his power over evil forces and her subsequent devotion to him. Okay, he did cast out 7 devils from her. Okay, it did say out of Luke 8:2 states, and certain woman which had been healed of 7 spirits and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils. The number 7 is often symbolic of completeness or perfection in the Bible, suggesting that Mary was completely possessed by these evil spirits, according to some interpretations. Let's see, possibility meaning. Some interpretations suggest that 7 devils could represent the 7 deadly sins, while others propose they might be linked to severe physiological or emotional trauma. Significance. Mary Magdalene's healing from these demons is a testament to Jesus' power, and her subsequent devotion to him is a powerful example of redemption and transformation in Christian tradition. Okay, so now that's all what was looked up. He looked it up, see, from Google or whatever. So I was wrong. So it do states out of Luke 8:2 that Jesus did cast out 7 devils out of Mary Magdalene. Now, when it was done, and how it was done, was it in the tavern like they did in the Chosen, or wherever it was at, and in what sequence it was done in? I don't know. But according to their story, she was the first one that he done some type of a healing to. So I don't know that part. All I know is the first miracle he did do was the wine, was turning the water into wine. Now, they were saying in the movie that this was quiet things he done, and these were open things that he done. Now they're saying that the time that he did the fish was at night with Peter and them fishing, trying to fish all night. And he asked him to use this boat at night. And how can they fish all night? And it was night when Jesus asked him to use it's just so much. And I don't want to get into that because I want to continue on. But that's how I feel about it. I'm gonna still watch it just to see how they did it. Like I said, I like some of the stuff that they did, and I don't like some of the stuff that they did. But once again, I don't know where they're getting this information from, so I just have to be open to a degree, and I do appreciate that they are talking about Christ, so they did something about Christ, but I was hoping they would have did a little bit more closer to the Bible than mostly speculated stuff. So, but to get off of that, I do thank you for trying to express um, the emotions of Jesus. You didn't make him all holy like sometimes people think Jesus was all holy, oh, with a big head on his head. Uh, and he wasn't all, but you made him kind of soft, and you made him kind of moving upon people's emotion to him that he moved to do these things and not by the faith of the person. Even though you did mention about the faith, like the people letting the man down in the roof, y'all got Mary Magdalene leading the people to the roof. You got her there when they letting them down through the roof, and all of this other stuff. Like, come on now, like that stuff is speculation, and if people who don't really understand the Bible see that, they're gonna kind of believe and think that that's the way that is, and then when they go read the Bible and find out that that's not how it is, they may be even more confused on why these people who's supposed to be expounding on Jesus and telling them about Jesus went on and did things that wasn't, in the Bible. It may make them hard. It may make it harder for them to believe people that's talking about the scriptures. So if I mean, I know you said that at the beginning. I tried to pause my TV so I could read it all before it went off. But my TV, when I pause it on there, it doesn't leave it open. It had in my TV, it's a smart TV, so it puts something up there in a way, and I can't see or read everything that you did put up there to describe what you did. So if I missed anything on that part, I apologize, and if you can let me know on what it is that you actually said, or somebody could put it on TikTok or YouTube or something on what they had up on the screen at the beginning of the when it first started out. So maybe I could read all of it and see what it is that they actually said. So I'm not really judging them, and I'm not really trying to step on nobody's toes, because they did say some of the stuff has been fabricated. So um, I just wish they would have fabricated it more towards the scriptural part, and not just speculations. What they thought that this how it might have went. So, um, but I want to talk about, and this is gonna go with the temptation, because I had these things labeled under there. I did mention some of these things, like 1 Corinthians 10:13 and James chapter 1, verse 13 through 15. So I went over those things. So let's go to, I'm just read them real quick, just so we can hear them again. And I'm gonna read them out of the King James version. I'm gonna read them out of King James version, because we already went over this with the several versions. So I just want to go over it real quick. I'm gonna go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. 1 Corinthians 10:13. Verse 13 says, "There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful. God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it." So the temptation that is taking us is common to man. So everybody goes through it. And then there's James chapter 1, verse 13. 1 through 13, verse 13 through 15. James You got James? You say it. Say it. I have it. James chapter 1, verse 13 through 15. It says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. And I added, this is my speculation, I added, he will tempt that neither tempt he, neither will God tempt any man with evil. So that's my speculation, is saying, adding the evil part in it, since it's saying that God can't be tempted with evil, so neither will he tempt any other man, or will he tempt any man. And I just added evil. So that don't take away from the Bible, and that don't add nothing to it. I'm just saying, because what it's talking about is evil. And what it said that in 1 Corinthians, that when we are tempted, everybody is tempted with this thing. And then it's saying that God cannot be tempted in verse 13, and neither will he tempt anyone else with what? Evil. So verse 14, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So what tempts us is our what? Flesh. Is our own temptation. And it draws us away. And it entices us. It's our own lust. It's not God lust. It's not God tempting us. It's our own. And like once again in 1 Corinthians it says everyone is what? Tempted. So, and then verse 15 it says, then when lust have conceived, it brings forth sin. And it says, and sin, when it is finished, brings forth death. Now, my topic, if I was going to do a topic, it would be, bad things happen to good people. It would be no. Bad things happen to everyone. Or good things happen to everyone. So, when the reason why I did it that way, but it falls. I'm keeping it under with the temptation. This I'm gonna go at because you hear a lot of people say bad things happen to good people. I don't know why bad things happen to good people. Well, bad things happen to everybody. And then you hear people say, when they have something good happen to them, they say, well, I've been blessed. Well, God blessed me. Well, good things happen to good and bad people. So you can't say, oh, every time something good happened to you, I was blessed by God. Or something bad happened to you, see, that's karma. Or you wasn't doing something right. So I read those two verses on purpose because it says that in 1 Corinthians that this happens to everyone. And then in James it says that our own lust tempts us, and it draws us, our own lust draws us to do it. So I want to come from, now you look up this one. This is talking about the rain. It's talking about, I want people to see that things happen to good and bad people. It's not either you're blessed, it's not either that you're bad on these things. Now, I am going to mention something that just is prepared for the wicked. That this thing isn't for the just, it's only for the unjust. And we'll see, well, let me say this first. Well, we know on Sodom and Gomorrah that Abraham, there were three men that appeared to him in the plains and of memory, I think it is, and don't quote me on that as 100%. And he addressed him to eat with him. And so when they got after they ate and did everything, and they blessed him, and Sarah laughed and all this other stuff, and they told him that they would have a child next year. They left to go toward Sodom, and and Abraham walked with them, and then the head angel said, which was standing in the place of God, was saying that should we keep anything away from Abraham, since we promised that he would be the father of many nations. And so the head angel stopped and conversated with Abraham while the other two continued to go towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And now the one angel, the head angel, standing in a representation for God or in God's place, said that they were going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Now Abraham knew that his nephew Lot was there. And so Abraham stood as the mediator for those people of Sodom and Gomorrah. So Abraham asked the angel and said, out of no disrespect, will they destroy the righteous with the wicked? And the angel said, no, that they wouldn't. And Abraham said, well, if there were 50 found in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you destroy it? And he went all the way down to 10. And the angel said, no, that they would not destroy the wicked with the righteous. But they would spare those wicked for the righteous' sake. But we see in the end that Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, except for Lot and his two daughters. His wife looked back and turned to a pillar of salt, so she didn't make it either. But they told Lot to get everything that was within his possession, which they even asked, Lot, do you have any sons-in-laws? And Lot went out there to talk to the two men that was betrothed to his daughters, and they thought he was making fun of them because he was a stranger in the land. So they got left behind and got destroyed with the rest of them, but they could have been spared. They would have been spared as one of the righteous if they would have listened to what the angels told Lot to do. So all of these things that I'm going to do today is according to that. It's according to things happening to the righteous and things happening to the unrighteous and things happening to both of them, the righteous and the unrighteous. Okay? So, did you find it? About the rain. I said look up about the rain. Falling on the just and the unjust. Found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 45. So everybody, this is where you can find this at. It's found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 45. While he's looking up that, remember, I'm always going to try to read them out of other books. I don't want to be too long today, but I am going to read it out of the, You're gonna read it out of there. I'm gonna read out of King James, and I'm gonna read it out of. I'll let you read some out of King James. I'm gonna read it. All right, read out of King James too. You can read out of King James and the Contemporary English Bible. So first he's gonna read it out of the King James version, which you have on his phone. Then he's gonna read it out of the Contemporary English version, and I'm gonna read it out of the New Living Translation. And I also got, where's my other Bible? I have another Bible. Where's my other Bible? Oh, here it is right here. And I have the New International. New International, the Living. He has the Contemporary English version and the King James version. So I'm going to read it out of these quick. I might not read everything out of these different translations like I usually do, because I don't want this to be too long. So hurry up and read. Come on. Out of Matthew 5.
That you may be the children for your Father which is in heaven. For he made his sun to rise on the evil and on the good. And
Matthew 5. Sit up.
Sin, rain.
And get your feet under the chin like that.
Rain on the just and on the unjust.
Remember, this is almost like, even though I'm teaching about the Bible. I have my children reading and stuff too, because I want it to be as simple as possible so that people can get understanding of the scriptures. So I don't try to come so theological. Oh, in the Hebrew and Greek, this is what the Greek says, this is what the Hebrew says, and I know how to read all of that. No, I'll just give you the definitions. I may spell out what it says in what it actually translates to from the Greek or the Hebrew, and just give you the definition of the word. Because I don't know how to pronounce Hebrew and Greek in their written language. And sometimes I can't even pronounce it once it's translated from the Hebrew Greek language into the English language. So I'll just read the definition. So hopefully that the definition is clear enough for you to get an understanding. Then if I read the definition, then maybe I could give some more of hopefully I could break it down where it's simple enough for someone as young as this 11 and 13-year-old may understand it, or even younger. So this is what it says. Read out the Contemporary English Version.
That you will be acting like your Father in heaven. He makes the sun rise on both good and bad people, and he sends rain for the ones who do right and for the ones who do wrong.
So in other words, it's saying that God, what it say? You will act like?
You will act like your Father.
It says you will act like your Father in heaven. So that means God has given us the authority, it seems like, from that version, that he gives us authority to do something, to be like him. He gives us the authority to be like him. And it says that the Father says that, because the Father allows it to rain on the just and the unjust, but it says make it. He makes it rain on the just and the unjust, and the sun shines on the just and the unjust, or the wicked and the righteous. We remember in the story where it says the sons of thunder, and they went to Jesus and said, hey, let us call down fire from heaven and destroy these wicked people. And Jesus said, you don't know what kind of spirit that you're in. So we have to be careful on how we try to use the authority of God, and make sure that we're in our right senses. And according to the chosen, Jesus explained to them why he had them till this man's land, and how they need to work on their anger, how they needed to work on their aggression toward people. But he was going to call them the sons of thunder because of how hot they get, how righteous they get for people that act towards their rabbi or their teacher. But what I wanted to see, that it says that it rains on the just and the unjust. This is things that happen to the good and to the bad. That it rains on us and the sun shines on us. Right? So I'm going to read it from Matthew. That's chapter 5, what?
Chapter 5, 45.
Chapter 5 and verse 45. So, let's go. So I'm going to read it. Wait, hold on. Where is it coming from? That can't be right.
Matthew 5.
Coming from Matthew 5.
Chapter 5.
Oh, I'm in Isaiah. That's good. No wonder I can't. It ain't all the way in there. Matthew 5, 45. Excuse me, y'all. See, we make a little mistakes here and there too now. Matthew 5:45. Okay, let's get it. Let's get it. All right, Matthew 5:45 says, this is Jesus talking because it's in red. And everybody know that they separated Jesus talking from everybody else talking by putting it in red. Now, if we would go to, this is something real quick, this is side notes. This is extra nuggets. We see that where Peter fell into the trance when he was hungry. And the angel had told Cornelius to send people to Joppa to a man named Simon Zatana house to call for the man Simon Peter, and he would tell them what they need to do. Well, Peter falls into a trance, and it said the sheet comes down, and the sheet, this voice comes to him, and it tells him Peter slaying thee. Well, they got that written in red. They got that written in red. So now, is the Lord actually saying this, or some angel voice says something to Peter at this time? Well, I want y'all to go back and check it out. It's found in Acts. Let me see. Trying to remember. Look it up. Where Peter is on the roof and a sheet comes down to him and tell him, slay and eat. While he looking up that, I'm still going to give you a thing. I think it says that an angel says, but it got it speaking in red. And we know that where red is, would tell Peter to slay and eat. Excuse me, I gotta wipe my nose real quick. While he looking that up, I'm gonna give you. Yeah. So the angel tells them, or the voice tells them, Peter slay and eat, and it says it asks him 3 times. But Peter tells the voice that it's not so. Having nothing unclean or uncommon entered into, or what it found? Acts what? I know it's found in Acts.
Well, here it says Acts 10, 13.
Acts chapter 10, verse 13. Are you going to read it down? Let me turn here. I got my other King James Version Bible right here. So I got different books of the Bible. Acts 10. This is a side note. Acts 10, 13. It says, well, it's found earlier than that. Wait, no, that's another 10. That was verse 11. I'm looking at verse 11. Acts chapter 10, verse what? 13. It says, in Acts 10:13, and there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. They got it written in red. Then in verse 15, it says, what God have cleansed, that call not uncommon. So now, that's supposed to be Jesus talking, because they have it in red. According to what most people understand, that whenever Jesus is talking, they have it separated from everybody else talking. They write it in red. Well, out of Matthew chapter 5, verse 45, it's written in red. It's supposed to be Jesus. This is Jesus talking. It says, that you may be the children of your Father, which is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. Remember I said this is going to be pertaining to
Good and evil.
what happens to the righteous and the unrighteous, what happens to the good and to the evil. People say that why do bad things happen to good people? And some people say, well, why all of the wicked look like they are being blessed while the so-called people that are supposed to be righteous are suffering? That was the whole thing about Job. His friends thought that Job must have done something wrong. It's the reason why he was being punished by God. That was also in this lesson that I taught. And last Sunday was basically about that, about Job, about where Satan asked God to curse Job. But God said, you can do it, but you can't kill him, so on and so forth. So that shows us that God cannot be tempted, because God was not tempted. The devil did not tempt God into doing that to Job. But in the scriptures, it says that his friends came at the end in verse 42, that his friends came in the end and consoled Job and had a feast with him, gave him a piece of money and some gold earrings because of what the Lord, because of what God has done to him, or the Lord has done to him. So we see that God wasn't the one who did it to Job. And if you read in there also, Job says, the thing that I most feared has came upon me. That's why it said that he was doing the sacrifices for his sons, just in case they have sinned against God. That's what it said. I read that part too in my last week's message. And it was called With the Temptation Part 2. I talked about all of that. But now I'm talking about these things that people say, why did these things happen to bad people? And why did these things happen to good people? And one thing we do know, that for the good and bad people, we all got to be born. We all is born into this world. And according to most of us, we got to die to leave this world. For some people, it was a few exceptions, like Elijah and Enoch. And then for those who's going to be raptured, that will never see death, but raptured, it said that the dead will rise first, then those who are alive will be taken up to meet him in the air. So there are going to be some people who actually not going to die, but they're going to be translated or transformed from the dead body to the body that will be eternal, or supposed to be eternal. So some people ain't going to see death. But for the most part, until that actually happened, we got to die. I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. If it do, then I won't die if I go to be with him in the air. But if I don't, if it don't happen, then I got to see death. Whether I'm a good or bad person, we got to die. Moses died. Noah died. Abraham died. Isaac died. Jacob died. Jesus died, but was resurrected. He was the only one resurrected. We see that there were 3 other people who died that was raised up. Then we see in the Old Testament where a couple of people was raised up, where both Elijah's raised up someone from the dead. So we see where Elijah or Elisha's bones was thrown in a cave, and this man died or was sick, and they threw him in the cave or in a hole where his bones were, and the man touched Elijah's bones, and he was brought back to life, or he came back to life. We see in Ezekiel where these dry bones, can they live? And it said the God went to talking and telling Elijah, can these dry bones live? And Elijah was speaking to these bones, and the bones started getting moisture, reproducing themselves back to. Now, I don't know if that actually happened or if it was symbolic. But we can see when God told Moses, I'm going to get rid of these people, and I'll make you a people that is stronger than they are and that will listen. So, we see the only one true creator God is the only one that can make people. He made us out of the dust of the field. And that dust turned into some type of flesh. So what that we see today. So that's something that happens to the just and the unjust. Sinners can do what it takes to have children, and they can have children. And some righteous people can do what it takes to have children, and may not have no children. So it happens to the righteous and the unrighteous. Some people have children with some kind of problems. It happens to the righteous and the unrighteous. These are things that happen to people. It's just common to man. The Bible says it's common to man. So I'm just using these things as examples. Those are side notes. But you see where he says that we would be the sons, we are the sons of God. That version said what?
You act like your father in heaven.
You act like your father in heaven. But this version says that that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. So King James Version say some stuff that sounds good, and then there's some of the translations, when they translate them, I don't like the way they translate it, because it said you will be like your father. Jesus said that you will be the children, that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. So we see that. Now I'm going to read it out of the New International Version and see what it says out of Matthew 5:45. So Matthew 5:45. It says, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Now, see how their version says that, so that you may be the sons of God. So, if you read up before so you can get a better understanding, I'm just using those parts on to show you that Jesus did say that his Father he set the sun up in the sky for everyone. Genesis says that the sun and the moon would be for days, for seasons, for months, for weeks, for days, for light, for heat, to separate the seasons, and so on and so forth. So we see that this was done. God placed these things up here, and they still functional. They don't function just for the righteous. They don't function just for the unrighteous. They function because God put them there to function. Now, whether it's for the righteous, for the unrighteous, after Adam did what he did, now we have righteous and unrighteous, and good and bad, and sinners and non-sinners. So I'm going to move to the next one. I'm going to move to the next one. The next one is John 3:16. Now I shouldn't have to read that. Basically, that's for salvation. We know that it says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes on him should not perish but have everlasting life. Now, it said that God so loved the world. That means salvation is available for everyone. But everyone won't be saved. Not because God don't want them saved, but because they're not going to choose the way to salvation. But it's available for everybody. Because he died for the world. Now we're going to go to Matthew 25:41. Matthew 25:41. Oh, let me read Matthew 5:45 out of the New Living Translation. Let's see what it says. While he looking up that, let me read this out of this version. I did say I would read it out of this one too. Matthew 5:45. Matthew 5:45 out of the New Living Translation says, In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike. So you want to read up more on why it's saying this, but the part I'm taking out where it says that it rains on the just and on the unjust, and the sun shines on the good and the bad. This is things I'm showing that happens to us all. That it's not, oh, bad just happened. Why do bad happen to good people like bad don't happen to bad people? And where it says that, oh, why it look like only the wicked or the bad or the, in our cases, we have racism still going on. Why only the white people look like they blessed and the black people look like they're always struggling? Well, we got some blessed black people and we got some struggling white people. So it's on both sides. Things happen to everybody. The Bible says that ain't no temptation taking you, but that which is common to man. And then it said everyone is led when they're tempted by their own lust. So everybody is tempted by their own lust, and every temptation is common to man. So I'm comparing them together with the good and the evil. These things happen. Righteous people are tempted. Unrighteous people are tempted. Righteous people are drawn away by their own lust. Sinful people is drawn away by their own lust. So that's where I'm coming from. So Matthew 25:41. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, read it.
That shall he say also unto them, on the left hand, depart from me, ye you cursed, into everlasting fire. Prepare for the devil and his angels.
Now I'm getting into things that are prepared not for the righteous, but for the unrighteous or the devil and those that follow him. That was Matthew 25:41. Well, go ahead and read it.
Okay. Then the king will say to those on his left, "Get away from me. You are under God's curse. Go into the everlasting fire. Prepare for the devil and his angels."
So he's going to say to the left. Well, this is where it talks about separating. Jesus gave a parable about a sower sowed, and a good sower sowed seed at night. And at night, the wicked person, who was his enemy, came in and sowed tares. And now the tares and wheat are growing together. And it talks about a separation when harvest time comes. That the wheat and tare, and then some say the left and the right, and some say the sheep and the goats, as a comparison of separating which one were good and which ones are bad. And so the ones on the left, it says that he will tell them to depart from him, and they will be cast into hell that was prepared not for them, but it said it was prepared for the devil and those angels that followed him, right? So now I'm going to read it out of the New International Version. That's Matthew 25:41. You turn to Isaiah 5:14. Let's go to 5:41. So it says, from the New International Version, then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. So if we go back to Revelations, it's called the lake of fire. And then it said that hell will be cast into the lake of fire. This says eternal fire. And now let me read it out of the New Living Translation. So I try to read it out of different versions, so hopefully someone that might have a different version other than the King James Version, they might have one of these translations. And plus, some of these translations helps give us a better understanding of what it's saying. So out of the New Living Translation, it says in verse 45, Matthew chapter 25. No, 41. Matthew 25 and 41, excuse me. Matthew 5:41. So in verse 41 it says, then the king will turn to those on the left and say, away with you. You cursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his demons. So in other words, what I get out of that the eternal fire or the lake of fire wasn't made for us. It was actually made for the devil and his followers. The devil and his demons. In the New International Version. And it says, in the New Living Translation, in the International Version, it says, the devil and his angels. And in the King James Version, it says, 25:41. It says, and this is Jesus talking once again. It's in red. See? Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. So if anyone knew if there was an everlasting fire, should be the Son of God, and also known as the Son of Man. Jesus, who said that it said that wasn't nothing made that was made without him, who was here eternal, way before anything else ever existed, he was there. If anybody should know if there's a lake of fire or a place that was prepared just for the devil and those that follow him, he knows. So it's written in red. And red means that it's supposed to be Jesus talking. The translators wanted to separate from everyone else speaking and what the Lord was speaking. I always say this. I wish they would have did it also in the Old Testament to where God was talking, that they would have put it in a different color so that we can see the difference between people talking and what God said. If I had the time and the money, I would pay to get it done. I would pay to put it in blue or put it in purple, put it in yellow, something that someone can see that would separate that this is God talking. And then even with Satan, when Satan is saying things, put that in a different color from what everybody else is saying, so that we know that this is Satan talking. You know, Satan talking different, God talking different. We already see that Jesus talking is in red. So maybe use blue for God and, well, black is for everyone else. Maybe use some other color, orange or something, to say this is the devil talking, you know? Or yellow for yield. Yield means to slow down. So the devil wants you to slow down so that he can talk to you. So he can try to manipulate your mind. The red represent, I guess, the blood. So they use red for supposed to be the blood. Jesus talking in red, so they use red. And we can use God's purple or blue for royalty. God is the sovereign God. So we can separate his by purple or blue. That's what I wish maybe somebody would do in the future, you know, so that people know that when God is talking from different than everybody else. And then when Moses is speaking and he said this is what God did or said, it would be in blue or purple, whichever color the person decided to choose to separate God's voice from everybody else, just like they did red with Jesus. So and now the last verse, the last one I want to use, Isaiah 5:14. You got it?
Yeah.
While he reading, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. The world of the dead has opened its mouth wide and is eagerly waiting for the leaders of Jerusalem. Yeah. And for the noisy.
Why are you laying down? Sit up.
And for
Stand
the
up.
noisy crowd. Especially for those who take pride in the city, that city.
Reread that.
The word of the dead has opened its mouth wide and it eagerly waited. Eagerly waited for the leaders of Jerusalem and for its noisy crowds, especially for those who take pride in that city.
And what's the other one? You read the King James?
No.
Well, I'll read King James.
I got it right here.
Well, Why didn't you read it before? Read it. Come on.
Therefore hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure,
Without measure.
and their glory and their multitude and their
Pomp.
pomp, and he that rejoice shall
Descend.
descend into it.
Now I gotta look more into that where it says he that rejoice, and he will be descending into it. Oh yeah. That's right. I did read it. I read it earlier before I started. It's talking about people. Oh man. I gotta read it. I'm sorry. I will read it. I'm gonna read it. No, I'm gonna read it. I'm reading out of King James. Isaiah. Oh man, I'm not gonna read all of it from the other translations, but I'm gonna read it from the King James Version, 14. And where did I start from last time? I'm gonna start. I'll start from verse 7 and read to 14. It says, "For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression for righteousness, but behold, a cry." Verse 8, "Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth." I guess until they die. Verse 9. Verse 9. "In my ear, saith the Lord of hosts, of a truth, many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant." Verse 10. "Yes, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath of the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah." Verse 11. This is Isaiah chapter 5, but I'm in verse 11 now. "Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine flame them." I guess till wine makes them drunk or overtakes them where they pass out or slur their words, do crazy stuff. Verse 12. "And the harp and the viol, the tabret and pipe and wine are in their feasts, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the oppression of his hands." Verse 13. "Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst." Verse 14. "Therefore hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend in it." Verse 15. And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled." Verse 16. "But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. But the main verse I wanted was verse 14. Therefore hell have enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, in their glory, in their multitude, in their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend in it. Now, see, before it's talking about drinking and partying, person getting up early in the morning, and all they doing is drinking until night, until they're drunk or until they whatever's going on with them from the wine. We see that in these two verses in Matthew chapter 25:41 and Isaiah 5:14 does not include everyone. It starts out saying that hell or the eternal fire or the lake of fire wasn't made for everyone. It was made for Satan and his followers. But to those that was on his left, he says, depart from me, and they will be cast into there as well. And we see here in Isaiah, he talks about the people that is just not even paying attention to the Lord. They don't care about God instruction, God stuff. All they want to do is get up and party and drink and do things crazy. They shall be cast into the lake of fire. Where did I read somewhere about them saying that they call evil good and bad? I don't know if it was in this group. I was reading something that was talking about to the people that call evil good and good evil, and those type of things, where it talks about what's going to be happening in the last hour. It wasn't in that group, but in the last hour it says that these part of that is going to be happening. As people will have their own interpretation on their own, getting people up there to itch their ear to make them feel good, and they calling evil good and good evil. So I'm gonna read it out of the New International Version out of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 14. And it says, therefore the grave enlarges its appetite and opens its mouth without limit. Into it will descend their nobles and masses with all their brawlers and revilers. And now in the New Living Translation, it says in verse 14, the grave is licking its lips in anticipation, opening its mouth wide. The great and the lowly and all the drunken mob will be swallowed up. So I might, I want to find it because I know I was reading it somewhere where it was talking about the people calling good evil and the evil good and so on and so forth. I'm gonna see what that is because I read it out a little bit this morning, and then I got some other stuff to read. Where's your phone? I sent you about I sent you about the Solomon thing. Because I said something last week also in my video at the end about Solomon. About Solomon saying that we will search for God and we won't get the knowledge. it says it never really said that anywhere, but it said that the concept of that is mentioned by Solomon in Ecclesiastes. This is what we looked up, and I'm gonna read it real fast, just so I could correct myself. I said it was found in Ecclesiastes or Proverbs, but it says the concept of that is found. While the Bible doesn't directly attributes a quote with that specific wording to Solomon, the concept of seeking divine knowledge, but acknowledging its ultimate mystery, is present in his writing, particularly in Ecclesiastes. Solomon explores the limitations of human understanding regarding God's works and the vastness of God's wisdom. Y'all get out here. Suggesting that while we can learn and strive to understand, there's always more to know. And it says, here's why this idea is present in Solomon's writing. Ecclesiastes emphasizes the limitations of human wisdom. Throughout Ecclesiastes, Solomon reflects on the futility of pursuing worldly wisdom and the seeming incomprehensibility of God's way. Seeking incomprehensibility of God's way. He acknowledges God's sovereignty and transcendence. Solomon recognizes that God's knowledge and understanding far surpasses human comprehension. This is evident in his contemplation of the timing of events, the unsearchable nature of God's work, and the difficulty of grasping the divine plan. He encourages seeking wisdom, but with humility. While Solomon emphasizes the limitations of human understanding, he also advocates for seeking wisdom and knowledge. He does so with the understanding that true wisdom comes from God and that humans will always have a limited grasp of it. In essence, Solomon's writing suggests that while we should strive to know God and his wisdom, we should also acknowledge the vastness of divine, it's cut off. A divine, whatever, I don't know the rest. It's cut off. See? It's a screenshot, so I can't move it up and down. What? Where was that? Right here?
Okay.
Understand he also advocates for seeking wisdom and acknowledge he does so with the understanding that true wisdom comes from God and that humans will always have a limit grasp for it. In essence, Solomon's writing suggests that while we should strive to know God and his wisdom, we should also acknowledge the vastness of divine knowledge and the limitations of human understanding. This approach reflects a balance between seeking knowledge and recognizing the ultimate mystery of God. So even though it doesn't give a specific, I thought it gave specific verse, but it's saying that Solomon's teaching when he talks about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding was that in all thy knowledge get understanding. Um, that is saying that we will continue to seek God and will never get the full understanding of who He is. That's how divine God is. Even Jesus says in one of His words that when they asked Him, when will these things happen? Jesus says, the angels nor the Son of Man will, or man shall know the time and the time and the place when God will do this. So the only one that knows when is God's going to do his divine essence is Him. And since Jesus was walking down here in a man's form, at that time, He wouldn't have known it. Because He said it's not in man's power to know. So, that's all I have to teach today. That's all I wanted to get out. But like I said, next week, I will look again and see if I did see anywhere in any of these verses where it was talking about men calling good evil and evil good, and if so, when I find it, I will put that in my next part, in the next episode, in the next version of this. But I just wanted to add that once again. I didn't get to the woman at the well. I'm sorry, woman at the well. I am going to get to you. I do want the people to see, because that falls into place with Job. When Job said that he heard a God with his ears, and now he's seen him with his eyes. That falls into the place where the woman at the well ran back and told everybody that I know a man who told me everything that I ever done. And then the people in the city said that later on that they told her that we don't believe on him because of what you said anymore. We believe on him because we heard him for ourselves. They had got to experience him for themselves. So Job was saying that I heard about you. I heard about how you was and who you were. But now that I have a personal relationship with you, and I have seen you for myself, nobody else can tell me about you, because I have a personal relationship with you. Peace. Be blessed.
Wait. My turn. Why?
Fix your clothes.
Why? Why? Why?